Hello and welcome to this Capacity Middle East Champions podcast. My name's David, Conference Production Lead for Capacity Middle East. This year will be the on-site return of Capacity Middle East to a wide international audience for the first time since the pandemic. To celebrate, we have formed a brand ambassadorial committee called Capacity Middle East Champions, featuring industry leaders within Middle Eastern telecoms, telling us why the return to global in-person events with Capacity Middle East really matters. Here in this Champions profile, we have Carl Roberts, partner of Hadaara Consulting, discussing what is pertinent to him. Thank you, Carl, for joining us in our Capacity Middle East 2022 podcast, profiling some of the brand ambassadorial members this year as the event returns in person in front of a widely international audience for the first time since 2019. These are our Capacity Middle East champions. Firstly, how are you, and are you looking forward to the event on the 28th to the 31st of March at the Grand Hyatt in Dubai?
So all good here, David. Thank you. And I'm proud to be an ambassador for the event. Very much looking forward to it, back in the grandiose setting of the Grand Hyatt. It's been a couple of years now since we've had the big event here. And I know from people I've been talking to, there's going to be a great turnout. So I think everybody's very much looking forward to this. It's going to be a great event.
The 2022 event will see Capacity Middle East's international stakeholders return to the event in person for the first time since the pandemic. Have you missed that buzz?
Well, not just myself. I think everybody in the industry has missed the buzz. Whilst the world has done pretty well actually getting through it all on Zoom and Teams and what have you, nothing really replaces the face-to-face contacts, catching up with people, and actually having those side meetings, which, whilst not scheduled, are very, very important at these events. I can tell you from my personal experience, the number of, let's say, ad hoc conversations which turn into real business opportunities are extremely numerous when you see people who say, you know what, I've been meaning to call you to talk about this or that or the other. And before you know it, you're talking about a project or an engagement. And that's true, I think, across the industry. It's a great moment for everybody to catch up, but also to help each other, because the nature of this industry is, whilst everybody's a competitor, you're also a partner or a supplier as well. And it's very much about joining the dots, and you do that much more effectively when you're gathered with the tribe, if I could put it that way, at an event like Capacity Middle East. And Capacity Middle East, the timing of the event is really key, because most operators have kickoff meetings throughout January, so the direction for the year is set. Everybody's been briefed. So this is really the first event that gathers the industry together, and after January. And even though it's called Capacity Middle East, there's very much a global audience there. A lot of Asian carriers show up. Obviously, you've got Middle East carriers, African carriers, you get European carriers, and a few of the US carriers also show up. So it's a great congregating point, and it's a big kind of level set and set of opportunities that you can talk about going into the new year, which give you an opportunity to actually set things in motion, set projects in motion, which will yield a result within the year as well. So that's why the timing is key. And seeing people in person, you can't replace that, thankfully.
Do you have any fond memories of the event, Carl? Have you seen the event grow? How have you seen the event grow over the years since you first appeared at Capacity Middle East?
Well, I have lots of fond memories, too many to really talk about. But when I look back over the 17 years of the event, what I think Capacity has contributed to doing is to kind of demystify the region. I remember the very first capacity events, obviously much smaller. The venues were smaller, and it was very much a voyage of discovery because the region was not very well known outside of the region, and bridging to the culture of the region was one of the big learnings that international carriers had coming to Dubai for this event. And I think over time, what's happened is that the collaboration has got much more intense, much easier. International carriers better understand the culture of working in the region. And also the region's rate of development is very, very rapid compared to other parts of the world. Obviously, we're here in Dubai for the event, and Dubai is at the cutting edge of lots of technological developments. It's quite a fascinating place to come to. So it's very much pointed towards the future. So over the years, I'd say the region's been demystified. The cultural bridges have been built. The collaboration on a global basis has much improved. And now this has become one of the, if there's a small handful of events that you really must attend in the year, from my perspective, this is absolutely one of them. So it's come a long way. And it's just a great, as I said earlier, it's great timing. Geographically, it's very, very diverse. So you catch participants that come from pretty much every geography in the world, and you can have meaningful conversations here.
As you know, we've ran the event for the past 17 years. What have these trends been like over the past 17 years? What have you seen take shape, and how has Capacity Middle East been able to encapsulate these developments?
Well, I think it's about really listening to developments in the industry. Obviously, in the early days, I'd say the US and Europe were very much driving all the innovation. I think over time that has become a much more evenly balanced equation across the globe. And I think, the sharings, the collaboration mean that it's become, much more global event. Whilst in the early days, you really felt that you're in a different part of the world, not for any bad reasons. It's just because, it's the state of the market at the time. Now, this is very much part of the global scene, and a lot of the innovations, when you think about what's going on in the area of smart cities, this region is very much taking a leadership position. So it's been an event that has grown with the market, but grown very quickly because of the rate of change here and the rate of adoption of new technologies. And it's just been very, fascinating to see how this particular event has developed, because I think out of all the events around the world, this is the one that has changed the most since its inception, and very much kind of in the mainstream now. And as I said, to a must-do event.
How do you like to spend your time at the event, and has it been an event that has given you the opportunity to meet the types of people that you've wanted to meet?
Well, I can say that I've been to every one of these 17 events, and certainly when I was with Verizon, quite simply, if I wouldn't have the opportunity to meet with the people I needed to meet with, I wouldn't have come. It's a very well attended event, and certainly, whether it was in my days with Verizon or even today, all the key people I need to see are actually going to be at the event. It's very rare that you have one of the major players' senior executive team not represented here. Everybody comes or is represented, so you do get to have those important conversations that above and beyond the just catching up, how are things and what's new in the zoo, you can actually have meaningful business conversations about ways you can collaborate, cooperate on projects and help each other in the marketplace. Yeah.
The social activities, has that been a highlight in your itinerary at the event over the years?
Well, normally, you don't really wrap any pleasure time around these events. However, that said, if you're going to do that, Dubai is the ideal place to do it because everything's in proximity, and it really is. It's a hugely cosmopolitan city. If you haven't been to Dubai for a couple of years, you're always amazed by what's new, things in place, buildings, things to see that weren't there before. So it's a fascinating place to come on the social event side. Some of our partners obviously have held events like Dune bashing. There have been cruises out of Dubai Marina, visits to restaurants in the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building. So Dubai's got a lot of attractions, and this year, of course, Expo 20, the delayed Expo 2020 is still on until the end of March. And Dubai's just opened the Museum of the Future, which is a spectacular new museum that literally opened a couple of days ago on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022. So a lot to see here. So, around the event, but also outside of the event, if you take a day or two, you can really see a very, very different and spectacular world here. And at the event itself, the social events, apart from the off-sites, just the even the cocktails in the evening at the Grand Hyatt outdoors, because the weather's great, obviously. Those are really very pleasant events to attend. And with this, it's a very kind of self-contained event. So it's very easy to see people. Everybody's within reach. Even though it's a big venue, it doesn't have some of the complications of venues at the geographies that we have.
And finally, to those that have never been to Capacity Middle East, do you have any words of encouragement as to why they must attend this eagerly anticipated event for the telco industry?
As I said earlier, this is one of the handful of events I would not miss. As I said earlier, the timing is key. The key players are here. You're in an environment which is very much pointed towards innovation, looking towards the future. People are very accessible at this event. And the one thing that always kind of goes through my mind is that, at this point of the year, everybody's got their targets, their things that they need to accomplish in the year, and they need to reach out and have those face-to-face meetings with their key partners in the industry. And as I said, after the kind of January flow of kickoffs across all companies worldwide, this is the first event. I know there's PTC in January, but usually a lot of kickoffs happen after that. So this is the first event with a global presence. We have the key players there where you can actually go there armed with what you need to do in the year, and you seek out your key business partners and have those important conversations that can still drive tangible results within the year, because you've still got like 3/4 of the year to go. So for that, plus the fact that it's a great place to come to, I mean, I would not miss this event. It's probably one of the most important of the year, in fact.
And that brings us to the end of this podcast. On-site blended as well as virtual-only registration passes are available for purchase on the Capacity Middle East website. We look forward to seeing you at the Grand Hyatt in Dubai on the 28th to the 31st of March. Bye for now.